So everybody, today we're going to talk about how animals are different between the base game, Farm Sim 19, and seasons in Farm Sim 19, as well as how they are different now from how animals worked in seasons with Farm Sim 17. So basically I've got an animal pen all around the map. I've got a chicken pen and a pig pen here at the main farm, and then we've got horses, cows, and sheep down around by the town. And we're going to put a couple other pins down across the map just to get a general feel for how animals are acting in Farm Sim 19. So first, let's take a look here at our chickens. So first thing you'll notice is we have male and female breeds of chicken. We have the white leghorn. This is the bird of choice if eggs are the top priority. This breed requires less feed than any other breeds. This breed basically will produce eggs and eggs only unless you have a rooster. We'll talk about roosters here in a bit. Cornish cross is a male chicken, so it will not produce eggs. Male chickens are for basically selling for processing, if you will. So if you buy 10 male chickens, you get them at basically 0 years and 0 pounds. So they are in essence little chicks, and you will feed them and they will grow. They will age. They will get bigger. They will become more valuable over time, and then you'll be able to sell them basically for a profit after some period of time. We have the Rhode Island Red chickens, are bred for both eggs and meat and require an amount of feed in between that of the egg-laying and meat counterparts. So the Cornish cross is going to eat a lot of food versus the white leghorns. Then you've got the roosters. So a rooster is needed if you want to have chicks. So the white leghorn, if you buy 10 of those, you will not get any more chickens out of those 10. All they will do is produce eggs unless you have Mr. Rooster here. Mr. Rooster here will basically fertilize the eggs and it will then produce chicks out of some of those hens that are in the pen. Basically need the right ratio of roosters to hens in order to get all chicks and no egg production. So that is an interesting aspect, and it does make then roosters a reason to have as opposed to in the base game where they're just decorative. They don't really do anything. So for this video, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to get a bunch of white leghorns. Let's just go ahead and get, let's just get 10. Let's get 20 of those. So that'll be $120. There we go. So we've got 20 white leghorns. And something else to notice, there is no delivery fee for buying chickens. So basically, we don't have the option of transporting chickens ourselves, so why should we basically have to pay to have chickens delivered when we can't really go get them ourselves? So these chickens will basically just produce eggs. They will not reproduce. Take a look here at our animals screen. See, it says next animal in dash. We will never see another chicken out of the white leghorns because we don't have a rooster in the pen. I'm going to go over here and feed these guys. See our crops off in the distance growing quite well. It is midsummer now. That should be good. And if we look here at the escape screen again, you're going to see got 1,000 liters of food in our chicken pen. And down here it says we need 3,570 liters of food to feed the animals for the next year. So With chickens, that's pretty obvious because they only take wheat or barley. So it's pretty obvious how much you're going to need of that one single food type to feed those for the coming year. Now, what we are faced with respect to the 20 chickens that we bought is what I like to call the rule of minimums, in that there is a minimum amount that basically the food troughs will accept. They won't request anything less than the minimum amount. It appears that this trough is 1,000 liters. So basically, with us only needing to feed 3,500 liters for an entire year, this 3-day seasons is broken down into 12 game days. The default is that you need to feed your chickens every game day. Basically, at a minimum, probably every other game day. Probably can't go any more than probably a 24-hour period um, without them being empty. Sometimes it seems like it's more than a day, but one of the reasons it seems that way is because of this rule of minimum sometimes kicks in, to where I bet if we put another 5 or 10 chickens in there, we probably wouldn't see the food trough need bar move at all because, well, they don't need any more because of that minimum level. So over here at our pig dealer, we have the choice of a male Yorkshire, a female Gloucestershire, a male spotted pig, and a female Berkshire pig. First off, I want to say that I misspoke in the first video related to male and female pigs in order to produce offspring. So that was an incorrect statement. Basically, if you have male pigs, they will only grow. They're only for fattening. If you have a female pig, then it is for basically producing more pigs. And that's what we see here with respect to the age and weight. So the male pigs are 0.2 years of age and are 20 pounds for the Yorkshire, and 0.2 years of age and 25 pounds for the spotted. If we buy, let's say, 10 Yorkshires, okay? So we have 10 Yorkshire pigs, $2,638, $1,000 service fee because we're buying them here. Basically, go ahead and do that. So what we will do is we are going to basically have 10 pigs for the entire duration that we own these pigs. We're not going to get any more. They're not going to magically reproduce. While they physically look like full-size pigs, just imagine them to be 10 small little piglets. Every day, they are going to grow, they're going to age a little bit, and they're going to gain weight. At some point, they're going to be a couple 100 pounds, they're going to be a decent age, and basically you're going to be able to maximize your profits by selling these 10 pigs then off to market. Probably make a fair bit of cash, and you'll then be able to basically reinvest that cash to buy a bunch more piglets and basically repeat the process. As the pigs age, they will eat more and more than they do when they're younger. Take a look here at our food area. You can see that the 10 Yorkshire pigs are going to take 5,877 liters of food for the coming year. This does, to some degree, take into account pig growth over the year. So they're going to start by consuming less food earlier, but toward the end of the year, they're going to be consuming a lot more food than they did initially. Let's go over here and start talking about some of the other pigs. Let's talk about the Berkshire pigs. Okay, this is a mother breed. It's a female breed, or female pig. It is a very fast-growing animal, but requires a high amount of capital for initial purchase. So you see the Berkshire are the most expensive pigs. They are for breeding, so in theory, these would reproduce fairly quickly. If you buy 10 of these, you will probably, I don't know how many you're going to have at the end of the year, but you're pretty much assured to have more than 10 pigs at the end of the year. Gloucestershire Again, they are kind of a breeding animal because they are the females. They are slower growing animal, but much cheaper to purchase initially. Very hardy, and a great for starting farmer. So we're going to buy 10 of these also. So it should be 10. So now we have 20 pigs in here. And our pig food requirements are as such. 15,606 liters of food for the coming year. Remember, we had, what was it, like 5,000 liters of food for the 10 Yorkshire. So you can see that it's basically the Gloucestershire pigs at 347 pounds apiece basically require double the amount of food that the Yorkshires did over the course of that first year. Let's go ahead and feed these guys up, get them topped off. And something else that I want to cover while we're over here is the water troughs. So of course you could buy a water trailer and basically fill the water trough as needed, as you would in standard base game. If you wanted, you could use the enhanced animal pen on this if you wanted to. There's no reason why that wouldn't work, because that just simply fills the water trough. Or Seasons has their own water pump that you can put in. Now, the water pump does not fill the water trough to 100% capacity. Water pump is basically designed to keep you from basically running your water trough dry, but there's no reason you couldn't just let it run all the time and let it function basically to keep water in the water trough. Find the water pump here under placeables, under animal pens. Now I will say that I am using a pre-release version of Seasons, and I don't have the water pump model here. I basically have a placeholder. This is where you would find the water pump. Come on down here. And the way you would place this is you would put it directly beside the water trough. Okay? So this is simply a placeholder. I don't really know what the correct orientation is going to be, so we're just going to put it there. The way this works is it will detect the water level in the trough every 15 minutes or so, and it will basically pump enough water into the trough for it to provide 15% of the required amount of water. So every 15 minutes it will make sure that there is at least 15% of the required amount of water in the trough. So in theory, you're never going to run dry. Use the water pump as a kind of an emergency, make sure it doesn't run dry type of a system, or you could just use it like this. What I'm going to go do is we're going to go ahead and finish feeding the animals here, feeding the pigs with soybeans. Oh no, all we need to do is add corn, right? Let's take a look at that. So all we need to do is add corn. We don't have any straw to give them at the moment. Then we'll get some oats and drive on up there to where our horses are located. So once again, we are kind of battling that case of minimums again, where each trough is, or each food amount for the pigs is only asking for 1,000 liters, because we only have 10 small piglets and then 10 full-size mother pigs, if you will. So what we're going to see is tomorrow morning, we're going to fast forward tonight into the morning, and we're going to basically then try to fast forward to about this time tomorrow, midday tomorrow. And we're going to basically see that our pigs probably did not consume too terrible much of the food in the trough. That is based on a few factors. One is the season duration. So what Real Mist has done is, as a whole, they have normalized the amount of food and the amount of production that these animals do over the course of a year. So players who play longer seasons are not penalized because they have to feed their animals so much more. It also doesn't penalize shorter seasons players by minimizing the amount of animal output that gets generated, because on a 3-day season we're talking about 12 game days per year. On a 24-day season, we're talking about 96 game days per year. So clearly there is significantly many more days. If the animals required the same amount of food per day in both season durations, then the guy who's playing 96-day seasons would go through a massive amount more food than the guy who is playing just 3-day seasons. What Real Mist has done is they've normalized this, as I've said, so that over the course of an entire year, regardless if you're playing 24-day seasons or 3-day seasons, they're still going to require the same amount of food. They're also going to output the same amount of output also. So what we're going to see with our chickens is, well, the chickens are going to produce a lot of eggs over just the period of one game day. That is because on 3-day seasons, they're basically producing 1/12 of their yearly output of eggs overnight. In 3-day seasons, or 9-day seasons, you would expect the output that we see overnight to be approximately 1/3. In 12-day seasons, it would be approximately 1/4, etc. So here we are at our horses, and this is some of the stuff is this is where it's most changed, I should say. So all the horses have different names associated with them, and they all have $0 amounts. That is because these horses are not yours to purchase. These are other people's horses that you have been given the privilege to train and board. So we're not buying these horses. These are owned by someone else. Each horse has their own interesting little attribute, and they may or may not have different training needs in order to basically maximize the amount of livery that we get every night. So horses will give us a nightly income if we keep them fed, we ride them, and we brush them with regularity. I think I'm going to pick a quarter horse, thoroughbred, and a black Arabian. And I think we're going to do those 3 horses. So since we are buying them from the trigger, we do have a delivery fee, $900, but we don't actually have to buy the horses. Let's take a look at the horses. See, they still require hay, oats, and straw and water. You'll see, though, that they start out with 77%, 66%, and 64% health, I guess that is. Training it is, maybe. Let's go ahead and put some oats in. We don't have any straw at the moment, so we'll put that in later. Let's go put our bale in. Now you may notice this bale is 1,400 or 1,846 liters in volume. Well, to be honest, I had to record this video a few times due to technical difficulties on my end, and had to reset these pins every time. It's kind of why there's a lip here on this. Kind of gotten a little after 3 times I kind of got a little tired of making it look pretty. So what we saw there is that basically the food troughs only take as much food as is needed and then leave you with a bale that has a partial capacity. I think that functionality was added in a recent update also in the base game. Oh, there we go. All right, now let's this here. Okay. And we'll wait for that to work. Let's go over here and talk about our cows. So our dairy cows are our beef cattle. We have a choice depending on what we want to do. Our male cows, so our Limousine, our Salar, and our Brahmin are all beef cattle. They start, quote unquote, small at 620, 610, and 578 pounds apiece. We have our Limousine at 0.6 years of age, Salar at 0.8 years, and our Brahmin at 0.8 years. So just like our male pigs, our male cows are just for fattening. They will not breed. We will not get more of them over time. Basically, we buy 10, we buy 20, we buy 50. We will have 50 cattle from now until we sell them, or they die of old age or die as a result of lack of care. What they will do is they will age and they will gain weight as they feed. As they feed and gain weight, basically they will become more valuable. That's why these male cows are the cheapest ones here in the bunch, because, well, they have the least valuable. They're the least valuable at this point because they're low weight. What is the optimal weight on these? I don't know. What's the optimal age? I don't know. That's part of the playing of the game, is to figure that out and discover it. But just like pigs, these will start to eat more and they will consume more as they weight up. So basically the food requirements are just going to climbing and climbing on these until at some point you sell them, or they basically peak out, and then I suppose when they're too old, they may start eating less. We have the female cows. We have the Ayrshire and the Holstein. These are our dairy cattle. They are a little bit older and are a little bit heavier than our beef counterparts when we buy them. These will grow. They will basically get artificially inseminated. All of the females, other than the chickens, are basically artificial inseminated, so that would include cows and the pigs. And they will basically, through a rotation, some of them will become pregnant and some of them will produce offspring. Others will not be in that phase at that given time because when they are pregnant, they are not milked. So you don't want, if you own, let's say, 10 cows, you don't want all 10 cows producing offspring at the same time, because you won't get any milk production for quite a long time. What we're going to do is we're going to buy 10 Holsteins, and then we're going to buy 10 Salars. Okay? Now, typically, I don't know if you would mix these. We're going to mix them because I just don't feel like buying a second pen. Of course, you could buy a second pen if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and get those 10 there. And let's get 10 Salars. That. Now we have 10 Salers and 10 Holsteins in here. We can see we need 99,000 liters of food to feed our 20 cows over the course of the next year. Holsteins are 1.9 years of age, and the Salers are 610 pounds. They are showing, there it is, 0.8 years of age. Okay, let's go ahead and put the water trough down for these guys also. Oh, but let's borrow some more money, because we're going to need more money with respect to our sheep anyway. Go. Let's go and put it down there for the sheep. And let's go talk about our sheep. So sheep are all female sheep. We have no rams, no male sheep. We have different roles of the sheep here. So the Dorset are a large breed of sheep that grows moderately fast, has modest wool production, and requires a medium amount of feed as an adult. It's relatively prolific and good for 25 to 40 kilogram lambs. So a year old, 139 pounds, $530. The Merino sheep is only 109 pounds. It's a little bit cheaper, $491. It's a medium breed used for wool production. It grows slowly. It's not very prolific and does not require a lot of feed as an adult. So we can expect the breeding rate of these to be much lower than the breeding rate of the Dorsets. Then we have the Suffolk breeds. It is a large breed of sheep that grows extremely fast, produces a modest amount of wool, requires a lot of feed as an adult, is prolific and slow maturing, good for 45 to 65 kilograms. The Dorper, medium-sized breed that grows fast but produces no wool. Very prolific and fast maturing, requires little feed as an adult. So if you get the Dorpers, then they're basically like the fattening. They're basically like the male cows and the male pigs. They won't reproduce. If you buy 20 of these, you'll have 20 of them. They won't make any wool either. Basically, they'll just gain weight. And then at some point, when you feel that they have maximized their value, you're going to sell them and you're going to get more. So let's get just for funsies' sake, let's get 10 Suffolk sheep. Go. All right, let's get some hay for our cows. Go ahead and check the volume level there. 846 liters, very low on the food level. Looks like we're going to need to give them a fair amount of food. Again, we have a mix of dairy and beef cattle in there. I'm going to kind of show you the speed that those are all going to age up or grow. And closer there. One more bale. This one has 4,000 liters. One has 2637. Alright, now let's take a look here and just check and see how our animal troughs are doing. Sheep, Holsteins, chickens, then we have our pigs. So you can see here we have 25 liters of water that is in our water trough over here at the over here at the pigs. We don't have yet water or grass for our cows and our sheep and our horses. They should pop in here any moment. You kind of hear the water pump running when you get close to it. And again, this is a placeholder. This is not what the real water pump looks like. I am using a pre-release version of Seasons to put this video out. So basically we can expect the water pump to look completely different than just the plain old placeholder rectangle. What I'm going to do is we're just going to hang out here for a little bit and wait for these water troughs to put some water in them, wait for the Graze mod to do its thing and put food in the sheep and the cow troughs. And I'll be right back with you guys. So as you can see, the Graze mod has done its work. We have grass in the trough and, well, the poor sheep have lost almost all of their grass, if not all of their grass, inside the pen. That is because what the Graze feature does is it basically takes the grass out of the pen here. Obviously, these animals can only eat the grass within this fenced area. So it basically cuts the grass, quote unquote, cuts the grass inside the pen and then places it magically in the food trough. And the Graze mod checks every 15 minutes and basically runs every 15 minutes to top it off. Look at the screen here. We go to our animal screen. You can see that our sheep have 778 liters of grass. Didn't fill it up all the way. Filled it up maybe 4/5 of the way. 24 liters of water. We put 15% of the water in the trough. Water pump, if I didn't say already, runs also every 15 minutes to top off the water trough. There's the water trough on that one. So if we take a look here, you may notice something interesting is that the cows over here, they still have grass in their pen. Okay? We look at the escape screen here. This cow pasture that has a mixture of Saller and Holsteins. We have hay, but we don't have any grass here. That is because what Seasons is doing, and specifically the Graze feature within Seasons, what it is doing is it's basically making the determination that we have a better food type of hay or silage in the trough, and as such, we're not going to consume this grass as a result. So if we did not have hay or silage in the pen, for example, I've got a cow pen over here where we put some things called again? Brahmin. That's it, Brahmin. So we put 10 Brahmin in over here, and you can see that all of the grass that was in the pen here is being consumed. and placed in the trough. But the Brahmin do not have any grass or hay. So that's why we have, or hay or silage. So that's why we have grass in this pen via the Graze mod. We have no hay or silage or mixed rations. Just have water and grass. So, if, it's a big if we had a small enough number of animals in this small pen, or even the large pen, it's not that big. Okay? It's just, how much money do we have? Not enough. Okay, so let's do this, for example. Just one more demonstration. Okay. So here we put the large pen in. And let's buy 3 Ashires. Do you have enough money to do that? Yes. Okay, so when you have 3 Ashire cows, you don't want them to die, so let's put down a water pump. Okay. Now this script will run in 15 minutes. Let's speed up the clock and see if this is 15 game minutes or 15 real life minutes. Oh, there it is. Got water in the trough. Of course, that may have been less than 15 minutes because of just when it normally would run. We have grass in the food trough. And we still have grass out here in the pasture area because it didn't need to cut that much grass. Let's take a look. Here we have the Ashires, 2,400 liters of grass filled at full. Brahmin are full at 3,700, but they visually do not have any grass over in their pen. So what we're going to do is let's go back to the farmhouse. What we're going to do is we're going to fast forward till sleep. Let's go in here and let's sleep for 12 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours. See, we got $3,300 in livery stable income. So that was thanks to us riding our horses. Right, there we go. So we basically we're buying these animals around 1 o'clock. So it is now 2 in the afternoon in late summer. Let's see where we stand. So our Suffolk sheep are 158 pounds. They gained 4 pounds overnight. Now do note, 3-day seasons, one night, 1 24-hour period is the approximate equivalent of a month. 12-day seasons, you have 4 days per transition. So it should, theory, take these sheep 4 days to gain 4 pounds, as opposed to 1 day in a 3-day season. Okay? They, in theory, should gain the same amount of weight over the course of a year, regardless of the season duration. So you don't expect to see 4 pounds a sheep, a Suffolk sheep, every game day, unless you play 3-day seasons. If you play 12-day seasons, you might expect a pound a day. If you play 24-day seasons, you might see half a pound a day or a pound every other day. Okay? What seasons does is it tries to normalize animals over the course of a year to, regardless of the season duration, you're going to have a similar experience. You can see they only have 280 liters of grass or hay in their food trough. It's because they pretty much have consumed all of the available grass in the trough. What we need to now do is supplement them with hay or move them to another pen that has grass in it. Then grass will grow back in their existing pen, and we can rotate them back. Assuming we have enough pens, we could just rotate them around and never have to feed them from late spring to late autumn. Over winter, there's no grass, so you've got to feed them at that point. Let's take a look here at our sours. So our sours were 610 pounds. They're now 681 pounds. They gained 71 pounds overnight. See that they've basically consumed about half of their food. They'll have 18 liters of water. Like I said, the water pump is basically doing its job. The Holsteins, they've gained a little bit of weight. Now, notice we have slurry here, but we don't have any manure because we didn't give them any straw. Same with the pigs. The pigs produce slurry if they don't have straw. If they have straw, they don't produce slurry, they produce manure. So you no longer get both manure and slurry. You get one or the other, and it's all dependent upon if they have straw in their bedding. Our 20 chickens have been quite busy. In fact, they have almost filled up the chicken box area. But again, don't expect them to do this every night on 12-day seasons or 9-day seasons. On 9-day seasons, I would expect a third of the output per night, as we saw here. Because again, seasons normalizes the animal output. Let's go over here. And what we can do is we could not feed these cows. And when they ran out of hay or silage, then the graze function would kick in and start consuming this grass. Grass is visually back, but it's basically at its first stage of cut. So it is uncuttable. Okay. I did see that we don't have any milk for our Holsteins. Whoa, hold it up, everybody. I've got some last-minute information to give you guys before I upload this video to YouTube. So I was commenting here where I didn't understand why we didn't have any milk. And I went back and was asking Realmus what might be up with that. And basically this is the information that I got. They asked me, did I have any calves yet? I said no. I still have the same number of cows I purchased yesterday. They said, oh, well, the cows need to have their calf before they'll produce milk. So I was like, okay, well, how long does that take? 9 months. That is 9 real in-game months. So each season is 3 months in duration. There's 4 seasons a year. 4 divided by 12 is 3. So basically it will take 3 seasons before your dairy cows will start producing milk. So if you buy them the first day of spring, don't expect any milk until the first day of winter. That is very important to remember, that you're not going to get cow production out of your dairy cows on day 1. Now, back to our program. Let's take a look at our Ayrshire cows. Still have 2,317 liters of grass. So the graze mod for our Ayrshire cows over here, it is keeping that trough topped up because we have more than enough grass in here to support just 3 cows. So we're fine with having low production. Could just have the cows during summer and autumn feed themselves through the grass growth. but we would definitely have to feed them over winter. Same with the Brahmin here. There's enough grass here to keep this trough full. Take a look at their weight. Brahmins, it's full. They have slurry, 640 pounds. They were 578 pounds yesterday. Go to sell them. We'll just see if they do any better. The chickens are 5 pounds still. Worcestershire's 356. They gained a little bit of weight. And the Yorkshires, they were 20 pounds. They are now 68 pounds. So let's go over here and just check something. So we'll see that our Brahmins were $1,048 or $34 when we bought them. Oops, wrong screen. They are now $922, being 640 pounds apiece. Oh, I don't have enough money. That's why I can't buy that. Let's go over here and check our Salers. They shouldn't have gone up much in value. $1,191 versus $1,400. Again, we don't own them for profit. We own them for the milk. Let's check out our sheep. $347, $524. But as the sheep get bigger, as they gain age, gain weight, they should also gain value. But they are also producing us some wool. Again, sheep should produce the same amount of wool over the course of the year, regardless of the number of days per season, again, because of how they normalize things. Let's go and take a look at the Salers, and then take a look at the pigs, and then we'll wrap it up. Salers are 1,072. Here at 962, but they will gain. They will definitely gain in value. Holsteins. They will gain in value also as they gain more weight. And the pigs. So, pigs. Yorkshires are 255 at 68 pounds versus 261 when we bought them. But again, they are going to get fat, and they're going to get fat pretty quick. They're going to gain a lot of value pretty fast. So, just want to check one more thing. Yep. All right. So, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think of how Realismus is doing animals now in Seasons 19? It is a lot of differences between base game and Seasons animals. It's significantly different than what we expected based on how animals worked in 17. Tomorrow we're going to do an interesting video where we're going to talk about basically what you need to worry about if you want to bring Seasons into an existing save game. And I'm basically going to say that it is possible. It's not recommended, but it is possible if you take the proper precautions to do it. If you do not take the proper precautions, well, you will probably not like the results. If you're thinking about bringing Seasons in to an existing save game, basically tune in to tomorrow's video. Till next time, happy farming. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell.